Hello there. I'm Edward Counsell. I am a therapist for Virginia Counseling. Just want to tell you a few things about myself. Well, I've been in counseling and therapy, working as a therapist, for 20 years or more. I've been with the Virginia Counseling Associates firm since the late part of 2018, just before the onset of the pandemic. At an early age, I can say that I knew that I was comfortable engaging in the profession or the habit of helping people, even as a child. And that behavior and skill and desire to do so stayed with me even through my adulthood years. A desire to want to help people to fulfill their goals and accomplish the things that they set out to accomplish. Therefore, I finally settled uh, being a minister. I finally settled comfortably in the profession of counseling and being a therapist. It's true that in our profession, sometimes being a therapist, the cases can grip our hearts and launch us into moods of sadness and perhaps even slightly become oppressed after we've sat for days or hours of absorbing the traumas that a client may present to us. Therefore, we, the therapists, we have to have a system, personal systems to de-escalate ourselves back to a state of functional normalcy where that we can effectively be ready for the next client in the next hour, the next client in the next day, the next client in the next week. Me personally, after the day, I many times use the approach in my drive home of listening to that deep spiritual relaxation, meditation, and inspirational music that can take my mind into a soft atmosphere, you know, where that I can release some of the things that cause the things of the traumatic things that I've heard coming from the clients. And this would allow me to regain my peace where that I can think of the effective coping skills to introduce to that client on the next or in the next session. Additionally, one of my main coping skills after a stressful day or a stressful week of listening to the traumas introduced by clients is to do as the individual who is a recovering addict from a substance abuse issue. He or she is taught to connect with their higher power in prayer. My higher power in prayer is God Almighty. So I use the prayer approach as well, as a coping skill to regain my focus where that I can be effective for my client in the next hour and the next. The advice that I would give to a client in terms of how to stay balanced as he or she encounters the chaos that life can sometimes deal us. I would say to the client or the individual to learn him or herself. Learn your strengths. Learn your weaknesses. Learn the historic responses that you have responded to situations in the past. Know your strengths. Remember how you responded to anger, situations that angered you in the past, situations that caused you grief in the past, situations that caused you depression in the past. I believe that knowing yourself, knowing how you have responded in the past, can give you a head start in choosing a more healthy response to the problem as you feel the onset of the depression, as you feel the onset of the panic attack come upon you. We've been down this road before. We can feel it coming upon us. Now we can implement the appropriate coping skills to avoid the situation from totally consuming us. My friends, if you want to talk more about that, give me a call. Have a nice day.